Now people are saying that Latinos didn't know that Black Americans are not immigrants. Child, I just don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say to that. It makes sense though, because the narrative that I've always heard about why don't Black Americans have the same drive or take initiative, or the narrative that we're lazy, even though we worked here for free. Like, didn't you know that? Didn't you know that our ancestors worked for free for hundreds of years? Like, I thought that was common knowledge, but I guess it's not. Like, this is really bad. If this is the case, why do you even need to take away critical race theory? People don't know it now. Might as well leave it in place. They don't know it right now. They don't even know the history of Black people in America. I just don't even know what to say at this point. It's way worse than I thought it was. But I do feel like Paul Mooney, that people are getting their Negro wake-up call, but in Spanish. They Latin wake-up call, they Hispanic wake-up call, because they learned it now.
Somebody tell me that this is wrong, that this is a wrong. So they over here talking about how Hispanic people thought that Black Americans were going to get deported, that we're immigrants. I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that's just something somebody came up with. But it does make sense as to all that your next business. But wait a minute. What do they think? Do they know about slavery? No. They clearly don't. So does that mean they know nothing? I mean nothing?
What do you mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Y'all thought Black people, Black Americans, African Americans, Blacks, us, were immigrants. Hardest lessons, clearly, it's going to take me a long time to learn and figure out is that other people just don't know what I know. I assume that a lot of people know what I know. That's why y'all keep saying that, huh? That makes sense, I guess. That we're next. Y'all think, what? How do y'all not know how long we've been a part of this country? Black people fought in the crispest attics. Did everybody not, at my little church, every Black History Month, there was this huge thing. I'll never forget when I came to my grandma's house. It was a huge package, and it was all of these cards. They were ABC cards, but on every card's letter of the alphabet and an important person from Black history. And that was what we did all February at Sunday school. Like, we learned those cards. We would have to, and then we'd line up at like the Black History program, and we'd have to read them out loud. So I guess I just assumed, oh my God.
We didn't come here for a better life. We came here against our will to give a better life to other people. Our history is different from yours. We are not here for the same reasons. Oh, these facts, man. These facts, boy, they just be, they are unrelenting. Facts.
Version to the term African American. Language has the ability to form perspective. So when you have a group of people who are just as American as anybody else in this country being referred to as African first, almost as if they are perpetually immigrants in their own country. It seems like it strips Black Americans who are 100% American and are just as American as white Americans. It almost feels like it strips them of their Americanness. It kind of invalidates, it kind of sends the idea that they're less American than perhaps their white counterparts. And this is why sometimes when Black Americans travel outside of America, sometimes people, foreigners in those foreign countries will ask them questions like, well, where are you from? Where are you really from? When a white American travels to those same countries, they aren't met with those same questions. They are viewed as the real Americans, right? They are the Americans. In everyday language, white Americans aren't referred to as European Americans. They are not referred to as something else. They are not labeled as a group that is from a different place other than America, even though they are European Americans.
Latinos are angry, they're going to get deported by themselves when they, for whatever reason, expected to be deported alongside Black Americans, only to find out that Black Americans cannot and will not be deported. Now, I don't know who or when this was said, but this is trending all over, that a lot of Latinos thought, for whatever reason, Black Americans will get deported, which they had to be told by a lot of Black Americans that for whatever reason, and for, well, the main reason, that is impossible. You see, unlike the Latinos, Latino communities, they come from, Mexico, they come from El Salvador, they come from Nicaragua or any other, South American countries. So they therefore can be, if they're in America illegally, deported back to whatever country. Black Americans can't have that done to them. The main reason being, when they was brought over from Africa, their ties to whatever are lost, meaning they actually don't have anywhere to be deported to. In fact, it will be much easier to deport a white American than it is to deport a Black American, just because the ties for the white American will be stronger to Europe in finding their roots back to Europe than it would for a lot of Black Americans to find which part of Africa they actually came from, and even so that the country they came from quite possibly is much different now than it was back then. So of course a lot of Black Americans, they're on TikTok, things like that, they're laughing almost at the Latinos for even trying to come up with such an idea, things like that. But there is two types of Black American that have talked about this. You have two sides. You have the one Black American that is very much for the African roots and the African history, things like that. But then you have almost a new breed of Black American, a new breed of Black American who, for whatever reason, denounces any ties to Africa and lives in this belief that they are the natives of America for whatever reason. They believe that they were always in America and things like that. I have heard many Black Americans also, there's many that I've heard say that the original Chinese, the original Japanese, that they were the samurais, they were the real this, the real that, everything basically except African. It seems like there's a lot of Black Americans who want to be everything but African. That's another part of a story for another video, I guess. But the main reason is, yeah, whichever they believe, whether they're Black American or African American, either way they can't be deported. It would physically be impossible, and even if you did manage it, it would cost a huge amount of money. They are as American as anybody. They are very, very much American. They was there from the very beginning of the United States creation. They are built many, many things. They are not a foreign people, as they say. I mean, in the country of America, in the country of the United States of America, they are every bit a part of it as the white counterparts. They came at the same time, basically, almost. So to say you're going to try to, or want to deport a Black American is like to say you want to deport a white American. It's physically unrealistic, let's say. Whereas for the Latinos, it's a bit more different, especially if they recently crossed the border. It is extremely, extremely different. It's a very different scenario. It's a very different take. But apparently Latinos, they are angry at finding this out. This is, I don't know why, it's pretty common knowledge, but they are angry nonetheless. I don't know where they'll go with this newfound information. Now they know that Black Americans cannot and will not be deported. Even if they could, I don't know what kind of situation it would have been to help them. I mean, to say if you're on a bus being deported and you look at out the window, you see over some Black Americans and you say, hey, you know, these guys should be deported too. Even if they did, I don't know how that would help the Latinos cause in any way. So it makes no real sense, this whole kind of argument in any way, because even if, like I say, they did get deported, it doesn't help the Latinos in any way. It really doesn't help anybody in any way. And like I say, Black Americans, they are Americans, you know, even the ones, if you think that they come from Africa or they come from this or what, it doesn't matter. They are Americans, they are United States of America, regardless of what they believe or they believe their roots are from. They are 100% what you would consider a United States citizen, a full-blooded citizen of the United States, you might say. So to be expecting such a person to be deported, even if you look at like the real, like really like racist white Americans, even they themselves would look at that scenario as very ridiculous to deport, because deport to where? Like, even if you say, okay, we're going to deport them to Africa, where? Like, the connection there, they do not know where they came from within that. So it will be kind of like if Europeans no longer knew where they came from in Europe and say, hey, you know, deport them back. It makes no sense. You would end up sending someone who's descendant of French to Russia. You would send someone who is descended from Russia to Luxembourg. You would send someone who is descendant from Belgium to Italy. I mean, you'll just be sending people based on nothing, really. So again, it makes no real sense. I tried to find out where this came from. I've not really been able to find out who said it first, or whether it just spontaneously happened, or whether it was somebody maybe just, you know, lying and saying Latinos are angry. I've not found the source, but if Latinos were really angry about it, I don't understand why. They should have done a quick Google search, if anything, and they would have learnt that Black Americans, yeah, they physically cannot be deported from a country that is theirs, basically. Yeah. But this has been Reaction Call. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.